The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone and welcome to this feature focus session. Today I'm going to be talking about B1 MailChimp, and that's our integration that works together with MailChimp to easily synchronize contact persons. So MailChimp is a free marketing tool if you have list of contacts or recipients under 2000, and we have made an integration into this tool that allows you to sync contact persons from SAP into the lists that you have in MailChimp. The reason that you should get our B1 MailChimp module is that it allows you to easily add contact persons from SAP into lists in MailChimp. It also allows you to add additional data from the SAP database and add it to the subscribers in your MailChimp account. And we have some reports and statistics that allows you to see some of the data associated with the business partners directly from within SAP. To get started with our module, you'll need to create a free MailChimp account on MailChimp.com, and then you'll need to create an API key that you insert into the configuration window in our module. So let's start by opening up MailChimp. This here is the online MailChimp, MailChimp.com, where I have logged in. And the first thing you want to do is you want to get an API key. And the API key you get from MailChimp using the account page, where you can get an API key from under extras. Down here you can create a new key. I have made one already. And after you have created it, you need to take it and copy paste it into the SAP client. So here I have my SAP client. I have started the add-on and I have enabled the module. And then I need to set up the configuration. So down here under module configuration, you will be able to find B1 MailChimp. And from here you can open the configuration window. And here you need to paste in the API key. And that's basically all the setup you need to do to get up and running with the module. After you have inserted the API key, you want to go into MailChimp and create your first list. So I will return to the browser. And a list in MailChimp is a place where you store your subscribers, and then you can send newsletters to the different lists that you have created. So here I have created just a basic list, and it takes a bit to set it up, so I have just created one for this demo here, but otherwise you just create a new list. And after creating the list, you can add, like I have done here, subscribers to the list. And you might want to add some additional data to the list. So like we have user-defined fields in SAP, MailChimp have something called merge tags, and they basically work like user-defined fields you know from SAP. So a merge tag is just, or list field is just a list of fields, and you can add additional fields that you can then use as like the dynamic syntax in the email body to insert data from the contact person into the body of the email. This way you can add additional data to your emails, and you can also later on use the values in these fields here to actually make segments out of the lists, so that you can say, I only want to send to people from this specific company or that are in this specific business partner group. But here as default you have a first name and last name and email address. They are always created by default. And then I have also created this additional field here called company. And now you want to tell the MailChimp module how it should get data into these fields. So if we return to the SAP client, Here in the configuration we have something called merge tag mapping, and this is where you tell what data you would want to take from SAP and put into the fields in MailChimp. So first off, you're going to select a list. You need to set this up per list, as you can have different fields per list. But you go in and say, take your list, and then you tell the system where should it take the data from and what should it put it into. So out here we have the names as they are shown in MailChimp, and then we have some predefined tables that you can pull out data from. So you can take it from the business partner table, the contact person table, address billed to, and address shipped to. And these two here are the default billed to and the default shipped to. So select the table, and then you give the field name of the field in the database. So for contact person, I would like to take first name and last name, and then from business partner, I would like to take card name. And you just input the field name in the database, and then this here is basically set up. So now the module knows that when you add a contact person or you sync a contact person, it should take the values from, for example, the business partner card name and put into the field in MailChimp. The next thing you want to do is you want to add some subscribers to your list. So we have down here under the MailChimp menu item, we have a menu item called Add Subscribers. And if you open it, it will show the contact persons in SAP that aren't on a list right now. You can include all those that are on list already, but for now we'll just try to add some of these here. So you need to select the list that you want to add them to. So this will be my OEC computers list. And then in MailChimp I have set up something called groups. And if I just go to MailChimp again, here, and I find my, I find my groups here. So groups are a way to categorize your subscribers so that you can put them into different groups depending on what they're interested in. So right now I have created one here called Business Partner Groups, and it's a radio button. So if I open it here, and with this one here I can take the contact persons and put them into if they are a lead, a customer, or a supplier. And I can create additional groups if I want to, so that I can segment my list so that I know what the contact persons I add to the lists are actually interested in, so that when I send out my newsletters I target the correct audience with my newsletters. So if you create a group here, it will actually be shown in here so that you can go in and say the contact persons that I'm adding right now, I want to put them into this specific group. And as it was a radio button type I made as a group, I go in and say the people I'm adding now, they want to go into, as a customer, into my business partner group. Then we have a few filters here. You can write some SQL if you want to be very specific in what you select out, but otherwise you can just go in and say I would like to only show the customers. And then basically all you gotta do is you gotta select the ones that you want to include and then say update. And now they will be added to the list in MailChimp. I can also go into a specific contact person on a business partner. Let me open it up here. And on the contact person I have this MailChimp button here where I can go in and say properties for selected contact person. And from this window I can also add just this contact to a list in MailChimp. So this is good if you have someone on the phone and you're already looking at their record and you ask them, do you want to receive our newsletters? Then you just go in and add them and update, and this person is now on the list in MailChimp as well. Now in MailChimp I have my list, as you can see here, my OEC computers, and I have some subscribers here, and if I open the list you'll be able to see that the first name is filled out and the last name is empty for these as they don't have one, but the company has also been filled out and they are the business partner group customer. So all the data in SAP is pushed into the list in MailChimp so that you can get all the data you have in your SAP database onto the subscribers in the MailChimp. Now if changes happen in your SAP, you have the option to synchronize the data again so that you can push new data into the list in MailChimp, and you can also get the data about people that have unsubscribed, and if they are bounced, equal the email address doesn't exist or don't block the newsletter. So this data will then get pulled back into SAP. So I have made a campaign here in MailChimp, just a test newsletter. I have sent it to 3 subscribers, but it was just to show that if I go back into my SAP client now and I go to the module again, then from in here I actually have a bounce report and an unsubscribe report. So if I open the bounce report, I'll be able to see what emails have actually bounced, and if an email bounces, then it's the same as the address might not exist anymore, so I might want to clean up my data in SAP as this email address is probably invalid now. And the same for unsubscribers. You can use it as an indication to who don't want to actually receive your newsletters anymore. It might be because they're not interested in them, or it might be because they've started dealing with a different company or something. So you might want to check up on the unsubscribers. If it's some, like a whole company unsubscribed, then you might want to figure out why that happened. From in here we can also see statistics. So I can go in and say for a business partner, I would like to see if they actually read my newsletters. So from here I can see that the test newsletter campaign I sent out, 2 of the recipients actually read it, and I also can see when they read it and what they actually did. We can also go in and see if nobody opened it for this business partner here. That's not the case, so it'll just show up empty. But I can also go over and actually look at a campaign instead and see it for all my business partners. So from here I can see that my business partner Maxitech is actually good at opening it. And if I enable this checkbox here, campaign not opened, it's empty again. All my business partners opened this newsletter, the ones that I sent it to. But if I go in and look at the bounce, I'll see that I actually had 1 bounce for this business partner here and on this email here. So this way I can see some of the data surrounding the campaigns that I have sent out. I can actually see the statistics afterward in my client, see who opened it, whose email bounced, and what emails unsubscribed. So no one unsubscribed for this specific newsletter, so it will also turn up empty. I can open the same window from the business partner master data by just going in here and say statistics, and then it will just fill it out, and as there are no data for this business partner, it will just be empty. Now as to do the synchronization, so if you want to synchronize the changes from the database into the MailChimp list, you can go in and open the configuration window again, and then you can go in and press this sync button here. Then it will run right now and it will push the changes up into the list. But I would rather suggest that you use the server setup. So for this to actually work, you need to have our server component installed. I know that the next feature focus session is going to be about this, how to install it and so on. But if you have the server component installed, you can go in and enable the server setup here, and then it will do the synchronization once per day, so that you always have the latest information. For example, if the company changes name, you change the group or whatever, then you can push the latest information into the list in MailChimp. The last bit of functionality I want to talk about is this checkbox here called batch mode. So the synchronization with MailChimp takes a bit of time, as it needs to call the API, receive the answer, call it again, and so on. But if you enable batch mode, the way it will happen is that the module will take all the data and put it into one big batch, and then it will send all the data to MailChimp. So if you have large lists like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 contact persons that you want to synchronize, then you want to use this batch mode here. The reason to not use batch mode is that as it will just send everything to the MailChimp API in a batch, then it won't know if something goes wrong on the MailChimp side. So you won't get an answer immediately saying this could be updated, this could not be updated, and so on. Instead, you'll need to have to look at this batch report here. So basically, you'll send the entire batch to the MailChimp API, and then MailChimp will process it when they feel they have the time. So it might take, for example, several hours for the contact persons to actually show up on a list in MailChimp, but the batch mode is much faster. So if you have many contact persons, I would suggest enabling it. But here you can see a batch report for the last 7 days. So I sent almost 500 operations to the API in a batch, and it was submitted at this time, completed at this time. And from the add-ons point of view, it goes really fast, but then you'll need to go to the batch report and see if everything actually went as you expected it to. But if I try to enable it here, batch mode, and I then force an update on one of my, it will only synchronize if there's actually any changes that it needs to update. So let me rename this contact business partner here to system. And then I'll do the synchronization. Then we'll go through the contact persons, find out which ones have changed or need to be updated, and then it will send it off as a batch to MailChimp. And that's from the add-ons point of view, the synchronization now done. And then in here you'll be able to see that the batch operation has been started by MailChimp, and it will count upwards in finished operations until it's actually done processing the entire batch. And when it's done processing the batch, then all the contact persons will have a new name in the business partner field. So if I open it again, you can see that it's now done. If you, for some reason, have multiple contact persons with the same email on different business partners, so you have the same email address associated with different contact persons and business partners, then we have this small user-defined field here on the contact person, where if you go in and say exclude from MailChimp, then this contact person here will be excluded from the synchronization. So if you for some reason only want to synchronize one of the emails and you have it multiple times in here for some reason, then you can actually go in and exclude a contact person from the synchronization, and then he will be left out when the synchronization is running. The same thing, you can actually go in and unsubscribe a contact person directly from here. So if I go in and say yes here, it will ask me, do I want to unsubscribe the contact person? And if I say yes, he wasn't part of any list, but otherwise he'll be removed from all the lists in MailChimp. And the last thing is this bounce flag here. It will be set when the synchronization is running, and then it will set this field if it's actually a bounce, so that afterwards you can look it up with SQL or whatever tool you want to use to actually clean up your database, remove the contact person that have bounced, or check up on if they have gotten a new email or anything. This concludes this feature focus session. This was an overview of the functionality in our B1 MailChimp module. MailChimp, as the online part, MailChimp.com, have a lot of great e-learning out on how to set up the list, send out your first campaign, and everything. So that's the reason why I haven't gone into any depth with it, because they have much better e-learning on this. But this is actually what the module can do for you. Easy adding of contact person, an easy synchronization, and some nice reports. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Otherwise, I hope you will also attend the next feature focus session, and this one is going to be about the B1 server components. So thank you very much for attending.